Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Lori and this channel is all about stitches. Right now I'm mainly doing cross stitch and then I also do a little bit of crochet and knitting, and at the end of this episode I will share with you one of my knitting projects that I've been working on. First off, I would like to say Happy New Year to everybody. And I hope you guys all had a great holiday spending it with your family and friends. Now, I have 3 children. One lives in the same town with me with my 2 grandsons, and my other 2 children flew in for the holidays. My son lives in North Carolina and my daughter lives in Oregon. So they were here for a week during Christmas. So it was really nice to have them here. And one of the things I wanted to mention to you that I thought was really cute, my daughter, she's going to be turning 30 next week. And I was sharing with her about the time I did Jingle Ball and I did this virtual online thing with all the other cross stitch community. And the first thing she said, "Oh, Mom, you were nerding out with your friends." And I just love that expression, to nerd out. So I wanted to mention that to you guys, that as we're cross stitching together in the FlossTube community, we are actually nerding out together. So I decided for my saying for this year, 2025, my saying will be nerd out. So I'm constantly saying it. So when my kids were here, my daughter was reading, my husband, he fly fishes, he was tying flies. My son is a video gamer, and so we were all doing our own little thing under the same roof. And so I was telling everybody, oh, we're all nerding out together doing separate things that we really enjoy. So then we get to ask questions about everybody's hobbies. I learned a little bit more about some gaming that my son does. And then I would share with him my cross stitch and show him all my projects. So it's really neat that you could share with family and friends what their hobbies are, and that you could give each other information so they could kind of get a picture of what your world is like when you're doing crafts and stuff like that. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for returning, and I really look forward to hanging out with you in the new year. And if you are new to my channel and this is your first time watching my channel, if you really enjoy the content, please subscribe. I would love to hang out with you, or actually nerd out with you, doing cross stitch and other stitches. Since the format of my channel changed back in November 2024 to FlossTube, I've gotten a few more subscribers, and I want to just thank each and every one of you who have recently subscribed to my channel. My next goal for my channel is to reach 1,000 subscribers, and I think right now I'm right around 930 subscribers. So I would like to probably reach that goal, I don't know, maybe in a couple months or so. And one of the reasons is I think I've shared this before, but my oldest grandson, he's 12, and he's at that preteen stage. And so when he found out that his Nana started a YouTube channel, he was really excited about it. And he would ask me questions about it and asking me, well, Nana, what are you doing? You're supposed to post a lot of videos, and how many subscribers do you have? So I'm always keeping him up to date. And so he said, so my next goal is 1,000 subscribers. And he told me that when I reach that goal, I'll get to have a party with the family, with cupcakes and stuff like that. And then to thank you guys, my subscribers, when I do reach 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be doing a giveaway at that point. So I just wanted to give you that heads up, and just keep an eye out on my channel. When I reach that 1,000, I will be doing a giveaway. Now, when all my kids come here for Christmas, it's been, wow, I think it's been about 10 years. I started a new Christmas tradition. My kids were young adults, and I just wanted them to feel like they were a kid again. So 10 years ago, every Christmas, I'll plan 2 surprise games for my adult children to play. And there's my 3 children and then my son-in-law. And these games could get really competitive. And then with the last few months, my 2 grandsons have they wanted to participate in planning the games. So a couple weeks before Christmas, we have these very important meetings where we'll talk about the games and what games are we going to play. So this year we came up with the idea, because I did some research on Pinterest. I don't know if you ever heard of this game before, but it's called the Saran Wrap game. And what you do is you buy a bunch of stuff. So my 2 grandsons and I, we went to the Dollar Tree and we bought a bunch of random things. And then you wrap it up into this really big saran wrap bowl. And then then they have to roll the dice. And when the person rolls double, then they get the ball and get a turn to try to unwrap what's actually in the bowl. And it was a crazy game. It was very competitive between and my one daughter. She knew about the game, and when she opened it up, she was just so excited. She knew instantly, oh my gosh, it's a saran wrap game. So at the end of the video, I'm going to put a little clip of my kids playing those games. So I just love the traditions of Christmas Day, and would love to hear what your traditions are that you've been doing from year to year with your family and friends. Speaking of Christmas, I have an FFO. This was designed by Cross Pattern Boutique, and I bought a PDF file on Etsy, and it was a Christmas ornament, but I turned him into my very first stand-up, and there he is. Oh my gosh, he is just adorable. I was so motivated to get him done so he could hang out with my other Santa that I painted in my Christmas decorations this year. So let me give you a little closer look at him. And I stitched him on ivory 14 count Aida. And then here's the back of him. And then I have to show you his bottom. So being my first stand-up, I had to watch a tutorial on how to make him. If I could find that tutorial, I'll link it below for you. And then I just added a little bow on top, and then I covered the seam with some ribbon. And then I got the button out of my grandmother's button jar. When my grandmother passed away years ago, when I saw her button jar in her home, I asked my mom, I'm like, Mom, can I have her button jar? I remember seeing this when I was a little girl, when I would go over to her house. So that's where I found that button. And I was just amazed when I thought I had to dump out that whole jar of buttons, but I found this button on the very top. I mean, it was definitely meant to be. And then I added my little 2024 charm on there. And I'm already making plans to do another stand-up for next year. I really like these stand-ups. And he took a lot of stuffing. I mean, I did the process of building him in like 2 days. I didn't want to rush it since it was my first stand-up. Now let's talk about my end of year stats for 2024. Now I started FlossTube on November 13th, 2024. So here are my stats. I did 17 new starts, and out of those 17, I have 6 FFOs. So I am going to be bringing over 11 2024 WIPs into 2025. And then at the end of 2024, my total subscribers were 887. Now, earlier in another episode, I shared my my goals for 2025, and one of them was to do 25 in 2025 of new starts. So we'll see how that goes for the year. But in this episode, I'm going to actually be sharing with you 4 new starts. My first new start is called Let's Get Cozy, and here's a picture of it. It was designed by Amy M. Curtis, and she also has a FlossTube channel, and her channel name is Amy M. Makes. And here is my start on it. And I'm stitching it on 14 count Aida and with the DMC floss that it's called for. And then I purchased these little floss cards at a Hobby Lobby. So if you ever need an idea how to organize your floss, you get like a set of these. I think there's like, I don't know, 5 to 10 in a set. So I really like using something like this when I don't have a lot of colors in my project. So let me show you the project again. So another one of my goals for 2025 is every month is to make a small pillow to represent that month. So for the month of January, since it's cold, I thought this pattern would just be perfect to make into a small pillow. It's going to be kind of a bigger pillow. Right now, since I'm a new cross stitcher, I tend to gravitate to the 14 count Aida, and then I sometimes do some 16 count, and then eventually I think I'll venture to more like trying a linen with the 36 count. But I'm not there yet. But I'm hoping maybe towards the end of this year, I'll venture to trying to cross stitch a small project on linen. So So there is my first new start. My next new start has to do with another goal that I've set for this year, and that is to start a project to represent each season. And this pattern, I'll show a picture of it to you right here. It was designed by Spell X Stitch, and it is called the Majestic Moose. And here's how far I've gotten on it so far. And there's my moose right there. I've shared this before, but my 3 favorite animals are moose, pelicans, and penguins. And then this one, I'm using the called for DMC floss on 14 count Ada Mystic Gray. So I'm starting to get a stash of fabric of different colors so I could audition my floss with the fabric. So I'm really excited that my stash of fabrics is slowly starting to grow. And my plan on working on my seasonal projects is to work on it just during that season. So I would like to try and work on this. I'm going to try and work on it daily. I'll probably miss some days there to where I could put on 150 stitches on most of the days of the week. I will miss some days, and I'm not going to like beat myself up if I miss a day or anything like that, but I'll just work on it during winter. And then I already have my spring project bought, but I'll share that with you when it becomes a new start in spring. One of my other goals that I set for myself for 2025 was to find another stitch along that a channel was doing. So it was a couple weeks ago, the middle of December. Since I'm new to FlossTube, I'm still finding all the FlossTubers out there, and I usually introduce myself in a comment just to say, hi, I found your channel. I'm looking forward to stitching with you in this awesome community. So I found a stitch along, and the FlossTube channel is called Highway Stitcher by Colette Kingsley. And she was talking about a stitch along that she does with a couple other friends of hers. And I guess they do it yearly. And this is like the 4th year that they're doing a year-long stitch along. And she gave it a hashtag for it called hashtag Oct to Oct. And I'll write that right here. And then the other hashtag she mentioned was called Matter in Hand Sal. So here is the picture of the project they're working on. And it is designed by Jeanette Douglas Designs, and it's called Matter in Hand. Now, I saw this pattern, where did I see it? Either on Etsy or 123stitch.com online website, and I really liked it. I like finding patterns that have your hobbies in there. Like this is all cross stitch related little motifs. And my plan with that is I wouldn't mind building one day, have a gallery wall with this type of samplers showing all my favorite crafts that I like to do. So when I noticed that this was the stitch along that they started, I'm like, oh, I've seen that piece. I want to get in on that. So I sent her a message and told her I would like to join. So I'm really excited about that. And it's really neat that I'm slowly starting to meet other floss tubers. All right, so let me show you my start on Matter in Hand. And there's what I got so far. And I'm stitching this on 16 count Aida. The color of the fabric is vintage. And I'm using the called for DMC floss. Now, I did have to change the floss color for this white. The color it came with kind of blended in real along with the fabric. So I just went and changed that color right there. And then for Christmas, my husband bought me the little clip-on magnifying glasses I could clip onto my glasses. So I've noticed when I'm working on the 16 count, it's really helpful to wear my magnifying glasses. And I just love this. I just love this color of the fabric. It's just so pretty. Oh, and then hold on. I have to show you this little needle binder. Look at that. It says needlework on there. And I thought that just goes perfect. So there it is, Matter in Hand. My last new start for this month is called the Mini Desert, and I'll show a picture of it right here. I found it on Etsy. It's a PDF file, and it was designed by the Stitch Patterns. So let me go ahead and show it to you, and then I'll talk a little more about it. So this is 14 count Aida. It has 5 DMC colors, and I just used a scrap of fabric that I had. And then the stitch count on here is 28 by 37 stitches. So this thing is tiny. So the reason I started this one is a couple days ago, I was listening to Stitching by the Shore, and she was talking about how she's starting up a ATC swap. And I'm like, oh, well, what's an ATC? So I figured it out, and it is a artist trading card swap. And I guess a bunch of channels do these swaps where you make a project 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches, and you mount it on a cardstock, and you embellish it with ribbons or all different kinds of things. And I'm like, well, that sounds fun. So all that information I'll put below if you're interested in joining the swap. I do know that the theme that she picked for the winter theme is something to do with where you live. And I had to do a cactus. And the reason for that is right now I live in California. My husband and I recently purchased my parents' home after they passed away, and we're planning on relocating and moving to their home in Arizona. So on the property there in Arizona, I have cactus, a lot of cactus, and it gets really hot there in the summer. The hottest weather I've been in there I think it got up to 120 degrees, so it is hot. But so anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do this little swap. And I'm just so excited. I guess I mail this in to Stitching by the Shore, and then she'll do like a little parade showing all the different trading cards, and then I include a self-addressed envelope, and then I'll get mailed somebody else's trading card, and then somebody else will get my trading card. So let me know if you guys have ever done a swap. I would love to know. And I would like to join another swap if there's another one or a future one coming up in the community. Definitely let me know. Now let me share with you the whips I worked on since the last time we hung out together. And one of my whips was the Christmas countdown, and I'll put a photo of it right here. If you saw my earlier episode, how excited I was, this was a restart because the color of Ada I used was not the right color. I couldn't see the snow, and I was just so bummed, and so I restarted it. And then in my episode, I was just so excited because I could see the snow. So I kept working on it in December. So let me show you how far I got on my restart. So when I restarted it, I had to go in and put in the borders. And then let's see, what's that? Okay, right here, this is December 11th, and then there's the 12th. And then I was pretty much able to get kind of caught up. On the 18th, I didn't finish that one. And then this row all down here is for Christmas Day. And then below that are the other days of the month of December. So I was really hoping to have it pretty much almost done in December before I started it. But with the restart, that just took time. And I'm really glad that I did that because now I'm really happy with the color that I put it on. So my plan for this one is I was watching another FlossTube channel, like all you guys, I sit there and stitch and watch FlossTube channels, and I just get a kick out of seeing what everybody else is working on. And I can't remember the name, but she was talking about how if she has a project and she's not going to work on it for a while, she's going to put it in hibernation. And I'm like, I like that word. So this project will go into hibernation, and I'm planning on pulling it back out in July for Christmas in July. I like to work on it a little more in July. And then the designer of this one, her name is Donna Wolf. Yeah. And I'm using the called for DMC floss, and there was a lot of different colors, 45 colors. Another one of my 2025 goals is to play WIPGO for the very first time. And in December, they called the first two numbers, number 11 and number 20. Now, I set up my WIPGO board on just a normal piece of paper, and I thought, okay, I'm going to be happy with this. I'll just put it in my planner and just refer to it throughout the year. Well, a couple days ago, I was watching another FlossTuber, and her name is Craftie Emily, and I wanted to give a shout out to her because I thought she had a clever idea for her WIPGO. It's not a board, it's actually an advent calendar box where you open up the little drawers and stuff. So she set that up as her WIPGO um, box. And I'm like, I like that idea. And I was just so excited when I saw that. I realized it was a couple years ago, I did a advent with Crochet Society, and I'll put a picture of the project that I crocheted up right here. And it was a really pretty pastel color um, small blanket. And then in the advent box, so we also got like crochet hooks and some other accessories for crocheting. And I kept the box. I'm like, this is a great box. I could put supplies in there. Well, the box was just sitting empty, and I thought, I'm going to do what Craftie Emily did. I'm going to use that as my WIPGO box. So here's a picture of my WIPGO box right here. And so I went ahead and I drew number 11 and number 20, and then I just took the little card and taped it on the front of the box there. And then I decided, okay, let's have some fun with this WIPGO. Because I think Craftie Emily was talking about I think she was going to be doing some giveaways with her WIPGO, but don't quote me. Just double check her episodes to verify that. But I thought, okay, I'm going to do a giveaway every time I get a bingo on my WIPGO. So when I have 5 that I've completed the goals for those 5 projects, if I get 5 across, 5 down, or diagonal, I'll do a giveaway. And I thought that would be really fun to kind of get you guys involved to see. It helps motivate me to reach that goal so I could get a bingo, so I could do a giveaway. So let me share with you the 2 projects that I got drawn for this month. One of my first projects that got called on WIPGO is called the Folk Art Hummingbird, and I'll put a photo of it right here. It was designed by Sydney Lee Stitchery, and I purchased that on Etsy and got a PDF file. I'm using 14 count Aida. It's a soft white Aida by the company Zelnava, and I'll make a note of how to spell that here. And I purchased that also on Etsy. And this is for my mom's birthday start in memory of my mom. My mom birthday is November 11th, and she was born in 1929, and then she passed away in August of 2018. And every time I see a hummingbird, I always think of my mom. So here's the start I got. Now, my plan for this before I signed up to do WIPGO was to work on it on the 11th of every month. So I did that, and then I got this like little start right here. I know this little clip thing's in the way, but right here is the hummingbird's tummy is right there. So I thought, I'm going to put this on my WIPGO. That way I could get a bigger head start on it and hopefully get it done sooner than just working on it one day a month. So I'm really glad that this one did get picked right away. And my goal on WIPGO for this one is to work on it for 8 days in that month. And on my WIPGO board or Advent box, I have 9 different projects on there. And they were saying, if you don't have a lot of projects, you know, it's your board, you set it up the way you would like it to work. And so I have 9 different projects, but they're on there multiple times. So hopefully I could get a FO from a couple of those projects in 2025. And then another thing I wanted to mention to you, I kept seeing these little cords on other people's channels. And so I found a set on Amazon, and I'll link them below if you're interested in checking them out. They're called like a magnetic, what are they called? Clip holder. And they work really good. And the magnets in them are really strong. And I've noticed that some of my hoops projects, instead of putting the grime guards on, sometimes I like to use, I'm really enjoying, like, really enjoying working with these instead of always using the grip guards, because I guess the grip guards that I made, I think I made them maybe too wide, and they would cover up the border all the way around. So then my stitching space wasn't as big in here. So with these little magnetic cords, you know, I could really have a lot of stitching space. The other project that got called on my WIPGO, I'm naming it the Cloudy Nook Stitches Sampler. And what I did is I took 3 different pattern designers. And for the cloud, that was designed by Minnie Lynn Creates. And I got that on Etsy. And then the alphabet for Cloudy Nook Stitches came from Print and Decor. And then all the little motifs on here came from the designer for that is the Pattern Granny. And I got all those patterns on Etsy as a PDF file. And I'm stitching it on 14 count Aida, in vintage blue is the color. And I'm using all DMC thread. So let me give you a closer look at this. So I decided to, first thought was, you know, I'm just going to do a cloud and my name. And then I found all these motifs as one pattern, and it has everything that I like to stitch. I have my knitting, my crochet hook, my cross stitch fabric here. This lady right here, I'm still finishing her up, is knitting. I do quilting and sewing, and then the scissors. And I still, this one, I did the back stitch on it, but all these other ones, I still need to do the back stitch. And then today, I added the day that I started my FlossTube channel, which was November 13th, 2024. And right here are my initials. And then I went on, was it Etsy or Pinterest? I was just looking for something to do for the border. and I didn't purchase a pattern or anything. I was just randomly looking at simple borders, and then I just kind of grafted out. But it's a really basic border right there. And so I'm going to put that all the way around. So as a FFO for this project, I definitely want to frame it and put it on my craft wall with all those other samplers that have to do with the crafts that I love to do. So on my WIPGO, I have this a goal as 8 days to work on it for 8 days also. And so those were the 2 projects that I worked on my WIPGO. So that's all I would like to share right now for cross stitch. And now I just want to show you a WIP that I've been working on for several months. It's knitting, and if you're a knitter and have knitted wearables, you're probably going to be really familiar with this pattern. It's called the ranunculus. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but I got the pattern on Ravelry, and you need to purchase the pattern. And so I'm all pretty much done with it, except for the very bottom. The very bottom, I'm starting to put the ribbing on. And when I started knitting, it was the beginning of 2024 when I started knitting. Years ago, I knitted, but I just knew all the basic purl and knit. I never worked on circular knitting needles but I wanted to learn, and so I picked the hobby up again and just fell in love with it. I was like knitting 6 hours a day, every day. It was like a full-time job. And I think that's why I injured my left wrist and I had to take a break from knitting. So now I just work on it, just small amounts of time, and I don't knit every day like I used to. But I mean, look at the detail work in that. It is just so pretty. And I look at it and I'm like, wow, I did that. But I had to learn how to do these specialty knitting stitches. And I'm always saying, and I'll keep saying it, you could learn a lot of things on YouTube. So I was looking at a lot of knitting channels to learn how to do these specialty stitches. And since I knew the basics of knitting, I was able to kind of pick them up pretty quickly. But the only thing I probably struggle with knitting wearables is to getting it to fit me right. I think early on when I was knitting some wearables, I knitted them too small. I didn't have enough positive ease that the pattern was calling for. So this one, I made a point to make it a little bigger. So I've tried it on, and it looks like it's gonna fit okay. So I just gotta finish up that ribbing on the bottom, and I think I have, maybe 2 or 3 more rows, and then I'm done. So since I'm sharing this with you for the very first time, you will inspire me to finish those rows, and hopefully on my next channel I'll have it finished, and then I'll need to block it, and then hopefully it'll fit good. So Anyway, so that's a little bit of my knitting, and that is the end of my episode. My saying for my channel is go stitch up a storm. And I just love that because everything I do is stitch related, and I'm sure it's same thing with you guys. If you're also cross stitch, crochet, knitting, sewing, it's all about stitches. So I hope you guys just go out there and stitch up a storm until we meet again. All right, thank you. Bye for now until we meet again.
Doubles! No!
Come on, hurry on.
Oh, you got pop parts! Oh, the nerds! I want the nerds! Oh, no! Oh, okay.
Wait, is your mom the nerds?
No, not yet.
Yeah, there's the nerds.
The gummy nerds are like...